Kia ora, namaste, and welcome to my 2015 prediction, which is psychic, intuitive, and using the tarot as well. Let's move into what we're going to be looking at for the year. We'll cover off finances, global and earth-related issues, as in weather, volcanic and earthquake, country-related issues, to name but a few. 2015 is still very similar in vibrational energies to that of 2014, so we're still going to see the similar issues to do with climate change. It's not going to change, guys. No matter how much we put our heads in the sand over this one, we need to wake up and face the reality that our world, our planet that we live on, our only home, is changing, and it's changing rapidly. Now, whether it's to do with us or galactic issues or internal Earth core warming issues, that we're unsure of. But what you can be guaranteed is you're going to see more and more sites exactly like this. Massive storm, surging cells will continue to swarm the entire planet. So we still look at I get a feeling that we're going to see a large iceberg fall or remove itself from the continent sheet, and that's going to be probably earlier on in 2015, enough that it's going to create quite a lot of global awareness in us watching the changes that are taking place down there. So that's going to be a fairly big event, I feel, for 2015. We're moving into a period where we're getting more back to the culling out of the way we've used to exist as paradigms. We're wanting free reign. We're wanting things are much freer for us here on Earth. So there's a falling out of belief systems, there's a falling out of following rules and regulations. In fact, it kind of might even lead back to that slight 60s feeling of the hippie feeling, you know, the free love and free movement era, and that's coming as well. There's a feeling that there's transformational energies around the planet. You don't have to be involved in a set rule anymore. We see the feminine growth and change coming onto the planet, and the acknowledgement of the abilities of women on the planet, and teenagers and youth as well. They're all standing up and getting far more rights given out to them now. So this is a very transformational time. And it's difficult when you go through transformation. There's often pain and 2 steps back for 1 step forward in these times, but they've paved the way for the future generations of growth and change. So the message is follow your heart in particular. So if you feel driven or you're passionate about a certain thing, you need to follow your heart. You need to listen to your inner self and your intuitive abilities as well, because these are also becoming far more prevalent as we move forward each year. So each year we go on that path and journey, it becomes more and more, it knocks at you a little bit more, and you need to listen to your own self and address the inner issues, because they won't go away. It's a little bit like climate change, it stays. Now let's move out a little bit into space and see what's going on out there. I get a feeling that there's going to be a lot of space involvement in 2015. We're either going to be monitoring the movement of something in space a lot. Either it's our sun, we're watching it for some reason, inexplicable reason, or the planets around us, or the bodies, celestial bodies that travel in between and around the planets. I feel there could be a relatively large meteorite or meteor or asteroid impact in 2015, and I think it could likely impact in the sea and create even a possible tsunami. And the area that it might do this is in the southern hemisphere area of the sea, and possibly towards the latter part of 2015. But I think we're going to see more and more of these type of events with This may also occur slightly before 2015, so maybe even towards the end of 2014, but we'll have to keep our eyes on that and see how that plays out. We're going to see more and more of these type of events with asteroids and meteorites traversing our sky. We've noticed a distinct change in that, and again, we'd be foolish to try and deny it. We're possibly moving into an area of the galaxy that we haven't travelled in before, and we are encountering more dust and particles for various reasons. So those events will once again become more prevalent. Space exploration will continue to grow and grow, as will the governments that follow it and pursue it. We are moving out from the planet and out into space as a way of trying to find solutions for issues on Earth, and part of that is our technological advances as well, and that will continue in 2015. So let's have a look around America and see what's going on there, including finances and Earth changes. So first of all, I feel the American economy is going to sit quite nice and firm for 2015 with just continual slow incline. So I don't see globally finances falling particularly anyhow. I think it's more of a year to do with positive finances, just that slow chunk away, bit at a time of growth and moving forward. Now, when we take a look at some of the other aspects of America, I think of quakes. Now, I have a feeling that there could be a quake coming for the west side of America and on that western coast, and it could be around a 6 or 7 and sort of about 20 to 30 k's deep. And then we look into Yellowstone a little bit. I think the activity is going to continue at Yellowstone going through into 2015, and you'll see just a gradual increase in the activity there, culminating perhaps towards the end of 2015 with a sort of a volcanic event or eruption, but it's not going to be the blowing, mind-numbing eruption that everyone thinks. It's going to be more of a gradual, just energy gaining strength situation, and I think that will continue moving forward into 2016. Maybe it will continue growing a little bit at the same time. The gun laws and gun issues in America will continue to haunt you, and there need to be some changes made coming from the top end there for you all. Perhaps as we move in towards 2016, you'll see resolution and moving forward in a positive light with that perspective. So let's take a little look around Australia now and see what's happening over on that side of the ditch. For 2015, I don't see their finances as being quite so positive as some other parts of the globe. And I thought to myself, I wonder why, because Australia historically is quite a wealthy country with its own mineral deposits, and it has a self-sufficient workforce as well as many resources it can call upon. So I then thought, why do the finances feel as if they're not going to be as strong and growing quite as much as the rest of the globe? And I get the feeling it has something to do with the government or government issues or Abbott's Parliament. So I can't give much more than that except to say that it doesn't feel as though it's massively positive. It does just feel a little bit stuck, not moving quite as fast as other areas of the globe financially. Overall, I feel unemployment levels are down, so their workforce is growing and producing more. I think that's a really good sign for Australia. So there's plenty of work action around there and growth in that perspective. So we'll just have to watch and see exactly what that sort of message was all about. Regards weather for Australia, I think they could be in for a fairly strong wildfire season or their fire season this year. It feels like it's going to be quite intense, and that could be due to really strong global temperatures all round. Weather-wise for Australia, it feels as though we could be in for some pretty strong record heat temperatures, perhaps coming through their summer period, or even to, earlier in the summer period, so sort of September, October, I think they're going to be in for a relatively high wildfire season in Australia. So let's have a little look around New Zealand now, and of course most of you will know that's my home country. We've been through a little bit of turbulence in the last 4 years roughly now, since we had the very severe earthquakes in Canterbury, which took quite a lot of lives and created huge infrastructure damage and personal emotional damage to a lot of New Zealanders. Now I think for 2015 is going to be a better year for us here in New Zealand. I feel our finances are going to move along quite nicely. We'll be a little bit like the rest of the globe, and in fact in 2014 we've been known as the rock star country because our finances have been sitting nice and high and active, and I think that's going to continue on. I believe that by the time we move into 2015, John Key is most likely to be our repeat again Prime Minister, which is probably quite good stability for us as a country. What we are going to notice, I don't believe there will be as big earthquakes again for Canterbury, so I feel Canterbury is sitting quite safe or comfortable for 2015 without any worry of big quakes. But what we will see is the effects, without any great concern of any large quakes. You'll still keep getting that small rumbling that you've been getting. But what I believe we are going to see are the effects of an El Nino weather system that will be coming. Now, we sometimes suffer the consequences of that down here in the southern Pacific Ocean, and I think we're going to, like a lot of the rest of the world, still be suffering the effects of climate change that could be relatively severe. So we will continue to see strong storm surge issues and storms across New Zealand, which of course, as we know, also costs us a lot of money and time and infrastructure. So those are probably going to be some of our more negative issues for 2015 coming up. I'm not convinced that the El Nino weather pattern is going to kick in until mid-2015, but even in the interim, without the El Nino system going, we will still be feeling the effects of very strong climate change weather patterns. So let's just take a look around at general Earth energies. First of all, we're going to look at viruses. We've had a lot of viruses floating around in 2014, including the MERS, the SARS and the Ebola. I get the feeling we will see a continued rise in virus issues, and we may even see like a bird flu or swine flu, the H1N7 type virus around again next year. In fact, that may not even be bird or swine related. It may just be a human winter flu virus that could be quite nasty, so that could be quite strong for 2015. We may see quite a few unusual issues to do with boats next year, large boating incidents around our oceans. Not exactly sure what they are or when, but I get a feeling of boats and our seas in particular. Volcanoes are going to be particularly active again in 2015. They already have been in 2014, so expect to see that pattern continue. You'll see some new ones or old dormant sleeping ones that have been quiet for a long time come up roaring to the surface again, and underwater volcanoes as well, such as under the Antarctic shelf and other areas that we may not even be aware of. Quakes around the globe. I feel we will get a couple of quakes during the year that will be up around the 8 or 9 mark. I don't think we're going to see anything greater than that. They could sort of create a tsunami. We may have one of those big quakes around February and one possibly around July. That's sort of just a bit of a guesstimate there. Heat-wise, I think we're in for a pretty hot year ahead in 2015. We may even see some global records be broken. I think down here in the southern hemisphere for NZ in Australia, it could be quite hot as well. Months of the year that we may find a little bit more traumatic than others or heavy going. I'm thinking March, May and September may be our most difficult to deal with. As well, we're going to start the new year a little bit like we did in 2014, fairly full on. January is quite a strong month, also April. And then sort of in the similar energies, June, October and December. So we have got quite a full-on year again with strong energies and sometimes a little bit more difficult. They can be either human type emotional energies, warring factions and fightings, or they can be earth related energies such as quakes and volcanoes, storms, etc. Regards MH370, I don't believe that they find the missing plane itself. I think they're looking in the wrong area. It could be across land somewhere up north more. I believe later in the year, maybe the 9th or 10th month, we're going to see some fairly international UFO activity that gets itself onto the global stage and brings out awareness for all, and possibly even acknowledgement from governments that extraterrestrial activity is going on. Now, regards precious metals, I think 2015 will see them steadily generally rise, and I think silver is a good one for most people to be investing in, more because it's affordable perhaps than anything else. So they should just continue an uphill, slow, steady rise for 2015. Gold is a little bit stranger at the moment. I think I'd be more inclined to go towards silver. Don't forget properties as a good form of investment. There's 7 billion people on the planet requiring housing, and there's a shortage of houses. It's a good long-term investment. There could be quite a lot of significant power outages in 2015 for one reason or another. I'm not entirely sure why, but keep an eye out for those. Well guys, that's about the end of my reading for 2015. I'm actually uploading this in June 2014, and I find that quite often when I do upload things, energies or what I'm talking about sometimes starts to happen quicker rather than later. So thank you for listening. I wish you all much peace, harmony, happiness and love for 2015. Kia kaha. I'm wondering if there might be some global sort of